All right, everyone, welcome back into another fantasy golf video. We are going to be breaking down the top pool picks here for the US Open. Let's go ahead and get into it. So yes, in this video, we're going to go ahead and break down which players are going to be the top picks in each tier, and we're going to give you guys the reasons as to why. And at the end of the video, we'll just kind of get into a quick recap. So with that, let's go ahead and start off with the first tier. Okay, so we go ahead and get into tier 1, and what I have done is I've taken all my 9-to-5 data, which if you are unfamiliar with 9-to-5 Sports, 9to5sports.com is a fantasy golf and PrizePicks and Underdog fantasy sports website. So we have our own fantasy golf database, which gives us accurate information to be able to make the best bets possible each and every week for fantasy golf. So for example purposes, over the past 13 tournaments, the 9-to-5 data has marked which golfers have been like good outright bets or possible outright bets, and we've been able to hit the last 13 winners. Good outright bets have won 10 out of the last 12 tournaments as well. And so it's all curated data that just goes to tell us which golfers are going to be the best players. And the way I go about doing that with the 9-to-5 database is to target both golfers that have upside to go out and win, but also have a high likelihood to go out and win. So we're targeting both safety and upside. So I figured I would start with that. Let's go ahead and get back into the tiers. And so that's how we went about getting the 9-to-5 model rank. Now, we also are pulling in outright odds from multiple sports books that are coming in, and these are the combined odds ranks that we have here, okay? And so Scottie Scheffler is going to be number 1 in my 9-to-5 model, but he's also going to be number 1 outright-wise as well. And then we look at his percent likely to make the cut. He's the only golfer in the field that has a 90% likelihood to make the cut. And so from there, we could look at the next best golfer. Maybe Bryson is what we're looking at. Second best outright odds, ranks out pretty well in the 9-to-5 model, and also has an 83% likelihood to make the cut, the next best. And then it really does open up from there. So obviously Bryson's going to be the defending champ. He has played well at the past 2 majors. You could potentially go with Xander. He's someone that grades really well. But really, to me, it just comes down to Scottie or Bryson. But let's just go ahead and show you guys that in the 9-to-5 database. And while we're at it, let's just go ahead and pull up Rory here as well. So this is my 9-to-5 cheat sheet for each weekly tournament that takes place. We have the course history. Now for the US Open, it's a little bit different. Typically speaking, for an event on the PGA Tour, we'll have the last 4 years course history go off of, where we're just looking at which players that played that event and played it well. With the US Open, always switching courses, it's a little bit different. What we tend to do is we're looking at comp courses. Now the best comp courses are going to be the last 2 US Opens. US Opens tend to play the exact same each and every year. So we kind of know what to look at there, but we also are looking at the PGA Championship from this year and the Masters tournament. We do want to see how golfers have performed in those past majors as well. And so that's going to be the course history that we're looking at. And then the key stats. The key stats are nice because we know what to look at, because again, the US Opens all tend to play the same. The 2 most important key stats are actually total driving and ball striking. This is a course with its thick rough that's going to promote both you need to have both distance and accuracy, not only off the tee, but also hitting greens as well. And so those are some of the key stats that we are looking at there as well. And then we have the recent form, the last 4 events. And when we look at someone like Rory, we are going to notice that his form has really fallen off since his Masters victory. I'll go ahead and pull up his profile here for you guys to see that. So after the Masters victory, where he was scorching hot, it makes sense why he has taken a dip in terms of his production, right? PGA Championship 47th, RBC Canadian Open, missed the cut. He was terrible last week. Now, I get it why he would suck at that event. The big issue with big name players like Rory playing an event like that is, if you're not playing well, who cares? Why grind it out? Go ahead and get ready for the next major. But he is pretty vocal about not being prepared, mentally prepared per se. It's tougher to do his practice rounds. And so, yeah, we're just skipping him. And so we just come down to Scottie or Bryson. If you guys want to get different, you can play Bryson. I would suggest getting into Scottie. It's just the easiest click there on the board, really, in general. That's been the case, unfortunately, for every single office pools pick video I have done, besides the Open Championship, which tends to be a little bit different. But he's a clear-cut pick here, I think, this week. No need to get cute. So with that, let's go ahead and get into Tier 2. Tier 2 is filled with, I would say, some interesting choices. But for the most part, we know which golfer to get to. It's basically going to be Tommy Fleetwood. It's pretty clear that he's kind of the top option in this range. Not only is he having the best made cut percent likelihood per Vegas, he also has the best outright odds, and he ranks out actually really well in my 9-to-5 model, which again attacks both safety and upside. Now, some of you guys might be wondering really why, in more detail, why Tommy Fleetwood's going to be the top choice in this range. Well, first and foremost, what we're looking at here is kind of the DraftKings salary pricing, which is their own tiering system of how they would go about prioritizing the plays and whatnot. But what we're going to see here is, one, just based off of their tiering, he's a little bit overpriced compared to how Tommy Fleetwood's projected to play both in the 9-to-5 data and per Vegas. So Tommy Fleetwood here, just looking at it, guys, he is just the class of the field. So we typically have 4 unique characteristics to go off of, 4 metrics to go off of each week. Course history rank, which this week it's a little bit different because against the US Open, it's kind of comp course history, comparable course history. He ranks 11th there though. Recent form, 7th best form in the field, 9th best stat fit. So stat fit is just, you take those key stats that are available on the PGA Tour, you put that into a data point, you rank it out, he's top 10 there. 7th best specialist. So what a specialist means is we're taking all the unique characteristics for that week's tournament and that course. And so this is a course in which we know it's going to be a longer track, measuring about 7,400 yards. It's a link style course, American link style course. Top 10 in the field there. It's a hard scoring event. Top 20 in the field there. Just across the board, he's someone that ranks out extremely well. So he's the top choice. Now, I actually wouldn't mind getting to Corey Connors, but Corey Connors is someone that I do worry about the recent form that he's had. Because if you look at his past few starts, 27th, 25th, 19th, 11th, don't necessarily love those recent starts. I wish it was a little bit better, but he has made 13 straight make cuts in a row as well. So he is pretty consistent. I was really hoping he'd be in tier number 3 because that would have made this week a little bit more simple. So for me, guys, pretty clearly, we're going with Tommy Fleetwood. So now we go ahead and get into tier number 3. Tier number 3 is where it does get a little bit more difficult because we're getting plenty of pretty appealing options. So you got Ben Griffin, who we'll touch on in a second. Ben Griffin has been playing extremely well recently. Sam Burns is coming in off of a playoff loss, which was pretty brutal. Missed a 5-foot putt to win. We have to worry about where he's going to be at mentally. You would expect someone like Keegan Bradley to play well, and then Harris English is there as well. All those golfers are going to be great options for us here. And so let's just take a peek at those 4 golfers right there. And they are all pretty interchangeable. And I'm tossing Ryan Fox into that mix, who did win last week. He has won 2 events over his past 4 starts. He actually beat Sam Burns in a playoff last week. But we'll also add in Keegan Bradley so you guys can see that there as well. So again, just based off of like DraftKings DFS, daily fantasy sports pricing, they kind of value him higher. Now, if we look at the make cut percent, it is pretty interchangeable. Like Ben Griffin, Sam Burns, and also Keegan Bradley all have about the same. But when we look at it, like just across the board, Sam Burns just really ranks out extremely well. So he ranks out top 20 or better in those 4 key metrics that we look at. In the 9-to-5 model, he actually ranks out 5th. So, the 9-to-5 data likes him a little bit more than, the other data points. But that's because he's played well in the past U.S. Opens as well. The past 2 years, he's finished 9th and 32nd at the past 2 U.S. Opens. Played well at the PGA Championship. Played fine at the Masters as well. Now, I actually do really like Harris English as well. He could be a sneaky pick, but again, I was kind of hoping he'd be in the 4th tier because then it'd just be an easier click. There's no real reason to get to him. We can just go Sam Burns, feel pretty good about it, and then just move on. Outright odds, it's about the same as Ben Griffin as well. We should call Ben Griffin's form as well. 2nd, 1st, 8th. He's actually won twice over his past few starts as well. He's playing great golf, but it's pretty much a toss-up. Like Sam Burns, Ben Griffin could get to, like, none of these picks are terrible options. I wouldn't blame if you go with any one of these 5, really. So let's go ahead and jump into tier number 4. Tier number 4 does become more difficult as well. Daniel Berger, we'll show you guys his form in a second, has not been playing well. Aaron Rise, a bit hit or miss. Jason Day has somewhat local ties to the area. Maybe that's a reason we get to him. But this range does feel like much more of a toss-up. Now, I will call out Taylor Pendrith is the lowest listed golfer in this tier. Obviously, depending on maybe which system you guys are using, that might not be true. But he might go overlooked because of that. This is kind of the game theory side coming in for me, where if he's like the lowest priced or lowest listed player, people might just skip over him naturally. We can see he has a 63% likelihood to make the cut, 3rd best among this tier. Outright odds are kind of about the same. 9-to-5 rank, not as great, but maybe that's a very solid way to gain leverage. But I don't think we need to do that simply because this range does feel like very much of a toss-up. So I went ahead and put all the players from this tier into kind of the view for you guys here in the 9 to 5 cheat sheet. And what you'll notice here is that, yeah, it is pretty much a toss up in terms of which golfers we should be prioritizing here. Now, one player to me does stand out a decent amount, just in comparison to the other ones, is actually Siwoo Kim. I think I'm comfortable going with him. I just worry about the upside with someone like Siwoo Kim. So Siwoo Kim, if you look at his recent form, has been fine. 31st at the Memorial, Charles Schwab Challenge 28th. PGA Championship did have an 8th, which again, we're kind of using that as a comp course, comp event. Like the fact that he showed up well there. Truist Championship 17th, CJ Cup 15th. He missed the cut at the Zurich Classic, which is a team event, so we don't really care about that. To me, if a golfer plays well at that with his teammate, that's the cherry on top. You know, playing good golf is addictive. Don't really care. You can like write off playing bad golf at an event like that. And then eighth place finish at the RBC Heritage. So he's playing great golf. And he still ranks out 26th in the field, even with that Zurich Classic miscut factored in there. Event history is solid as well. The last two U.S. Opens, 32nd and 39th, which at this tier level, if we can just get a pretty confident made cut, we'd want to do that. And I do think that he promotes that for us. So to me, he's the clear-cut choice in this range for me, but I could see why you'd want to get to other players. So I kind of mentioned we could look at maybe potential local ties. And when we do that, Jason Day is like one of the only golfers that has possible local ties. So this is broken down based off of like where they live, where they played college golf, or where they're from, which is all different things. And it's based off of like miles. So I think possible is like 60 miles. So probably not all too likely. So we don't really care about that, but worth calling out. We look at Daniel Berger. Daniel Berger would be a great option, but he's just been playing poor golf recently. I think it's a little bit too risky. His game sets up really well for this tournament, though. He's one of the best stat fits in the field. But if we're going that route, might as well just go with someone like Siwoo Kim. JJ Spawn, I could see potentially into, but again, don't need to risk that. Taylor Pendrith, I would be fine with. Yeah, he's best in the field in both total driving and ball striking. The most potent key stats that we have that we want to be targeting. He's the best in that, and so he's interesting. But again, I think we just take the safety and go with Siwoo Kim. So we move on into tier number 5 here. And in tier number 5, again, it's a little bit more difficult. I don't necessarily love any of these golf picks too much. You do see based off the Vegas make cut percent, Mingwoo Lee is someone that stands out, a 60% chance to make the cut. Outright odds, he has the 40th best outright odds. And then the 9 to 5 model, he ranks out 35th. Now, I actually think that going with someone like Denny McCarthy, who's been a popular pick, apparently with the office pool picks, with how he's been valued and priced in these tiers, he's someone that's interesting. 32nd best pick in the 9 to 5 model, 46th in terms of outright odds, rank, and then a 58% to make the cut. Let's just go ahead and take a peek at those two golfers because they're the only two that really stand out to me here. And so we go ahead and take a peek at those two golfers specifically. And what we're going to notice is I would say neither of them are terrible, but I do really love the safety in Denny McCarthy in the sense that he has made 18 straight cuts on the PGA Tour. The issue with him is that his form has been a little bit lackluster in those made cuts recently. So we'll go up and pull up his player profile here. 55th, don't love that. PGA Championship, love that he finished 8th at the PGA Championship. Then at the Truist Championship, 46th. RBC Heritage, 46th. Masters, 29th. And so, yes, he's playing good enough to make the cut. We do like that. And we do want to be chasing make cuts because there's only T60 and ties make the cut. So not even half the field is going to make the cut, most likely. And so if we can get a make cut on Denny McCarthy, we'd want to do that. And it is worth calling out. He's another golfer that does have those possible local ties. And so that does bode well for him there as well. Course history-wise, or event history-wise, 32nd and 20th over the past 2 years there as well. So I'm going to be going with him. If you want to go Mingwoo Lee as well, you could. He's not a terrible click. Mingwoo Lee is very much hit or miss, though. Okay, so I don't know if I necessarily need to trust that. And if you're going that route, you could just throw a dart at someone like Brian Harmon as well. And so I'm just going to play it safe, go with Denny McCarthy here. So let's go ahead and get to the last tier, and I'm just going to use a slightly different screenshot here, not using the graphic I've been using because it's a bigger tier. And it is worth calling out, we have zero like quality options. Like basically every single major that I've done a video for this for, we typically have like one clear-cut option that like is like, all right, their world rank, which causes them to be in tier 6, is not all that good, but they're playing great golf right now. So we can attack that golfer and play that golfer because while he's playing great golf, he's a good stat fit, all that stuff. It's not exactly what we have in this tier. It's a little bit surprising. Now, I do think like Ole's in there, the golfer that is or has some of the better outright odds. 53 he ranks out, so 53 most likely to win per Vegas odds. This is rank 42nd in the 9 to 5 miles, so the 9 to 5 mile likes him a little bit better, and they are giving him a 57% likelihood to make the cut. It is worth calling out that the lower you go down, the less likely they are going to be to make the cut, obviously. And so let's go ahead and just really pull up Polzin, and I do want to pull up another golfer as well. Okay, we got Max Grayserman there as well. We're going to pull up those two. And so to me, I do like these two a decent amount. Polzin's actually an extremely good stat fit. Now, he was a very good stat fit last week as well. Was going pretty well and then kind of tailed off at the end of the tournament, but he is in some pretty good form still. So he's made 5 straight cuts in a row on the PGA Tour, which you like to see. Has had some top 10 finishes mixed in there as well. But if we're chasing someone this low, I do think we want to chase kind of that stat upside. And with him being the 3rd best staff in the field, to me, that's appealing. Okay. Now we look at the specialist data. That's concerning. He ranks 91st in the field specialist wise. So he does struggle with longer tracks, typically speaking. Green speeds, these are going to be fast greens. He typically struggles with those. With the length of the rough, he typically struggles with that as well. And so those are all aspects that we don't like to see with him. But again, that's why he's this low, right? Like that's why he's this low. And so he ranks out top 10 in both total driving and ball striking. And so, yeah, I think we can get to him. I think he's fine. I agree with Vegas that he probably is the top choice in that tier. And then we look at Max Grayserman. Worth calling out with Max Grayserman. He also has a pretty good make cut streak going, 7 straight for him. Not the best stat fit, but a pretty good specialist. Both of these two clicks are both fine options. If you end up on them, I wouldn't blame you for that. And so let's just go ahead and recap kind of what we're looking at here. So we look at Scotty Scheffler. He is the clear-cut top choice in that range. From there, if you want to get to Bryson, you can do that. I don't really think we have to. I think we play it safe. Go Scotty. He's the class of the field. He should be the top pick. And then from there, it's going to be Tommy Fleetwood. That's just clearly an easy click there as well. I don't mind the idea of gaining Corey Connors if you feel the need to do so there as well. But after that, there's nothing really else that we should be doing. Now we go ahead and get into that tier number 3. Again, the tier number 3 is the more difficult of the tiers because we got a lot of quality clicks. I am going to prioritize getting to Sam Burns, but I wouldn't blame you if you guys went with Ben Griffin. I think he's fine. You could potentially get to Ryan Fox. You could potentially get to Harris English, and I actually wouldn't mind Keegan Bradley as well. That's a little bit too many options. So for me, it's Sam Burns and then maybe Harris English, but again, we don't really need to get too cute with that. From there, the rest of the picks are more difficult in the sense that I don't necessarily love all them, but again, in this tier number 4, when we break it down, to me, it does seem like Siwoo Kim is the top click, and you could potentially get to Taylor Pendrith. From there, we get to tier number 5. Tier number 5, I'm going to chase more safety, getting to Denny McCarthy, but again, this range is also a little bit of a toss-up there. Now, from there, we get into tier number 6. It's Olson. He is the highest listed player. I don't necessarily love to do that because he's probably just going to be a popular click because of that. So if you want to go with someone like Max Grayserman instead, you could do that there as well. I think that's kind of a fine option because he probably will go a little bit overlooked. Now that's going to do it for this Pools Picks video. Again, for the US Open, make sure to leave a like on your way out. If you guys have never subscribed to the channel before, do that as well. If you guys would like access to that 9 to 5 cheat sheet for fantasy golf, if you guys are someone that's interested in placing some fantasy golf bets or someone that plays PGA DFS, make sure to go ahead and check that out. All the tools available on the 9 to 5 membership or on the 9 to 5 website are available for $10 a month. So take advantage of that. It's a great deal. I priced it that way for you guys. Thanks for watching. Again, leave a like. Comment if you guys really love a pick. If you maybe slightly disagree with the pick, that's fine. Just let us know in the comment section below. If you guys like a tier 6 pick, potentially that I didn't call, let me know as well. That does help out all of us. But thanks for watching. Good luck. And as always, let's keep cashing.